like to call the order this regular board meeting here. Can we start with a roll call, Evelyn? Thank you.
Mr. Thompson?
Here.
Mr. McKnight?
Here.
Mrs. Carlson? Here. Mr. Smith? Mrs. Hastings?
Here.
Mrs. Leeds? Here.
Mr. Arduino, recording secretary.
Charlie Yarbrough, 15.
Shelley Wagner, human resources.
Michelle Earp, curriculum and instruction.
Josh Rand, business and operations.
All right. Do we have anyone leading the pledge tonight?
Mr.
Us.
Valentine.
Us? Oh, yes, well, kick us off here.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next, approval of the agenda. We will be making one correction. We will be taking off 11B2, the facility request, and then removing the related action item, which is, looks like 12C. And there are no facility requests for that reason.
I was excited about that one. Ah, sorry.
Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mr. McKnight?
Aye.
Mrs. Carlson?
Aye.
Mrs. Hastings?
Aye.
Mrs. Leeds?
Mission?
All right, thank you. The mission of the Harlem Consolidated School District as a vital part of the community is to help diverse learners realize their limited potential by providing an educational program dedicated to academic excellence and the development of strong character in a safe and respectful learning environment.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Approval of the board minutes, regular meeting of June 12th, 2023, and public hearing minutes of June 12th, 2023, excuse me. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Mr. McKnight?
Aye.
Mrs. Carlson?
Aye.
Mrs. Hastings?
Aye.
Mrs. Leeds? Aye. Mr. Thompson?
Aye. And with that, let's see here, awards and recognition. Jason.
Good evening, everyone. It is my pleasure tonight to recognize a group that really makes an impact in our community. We have a few recognitions that were kind of last-minute cancellations, but we're excited to have this group. So as many of you are aware, part of our long-range plan, one of our goals is to work on connecting our students beyond the classroom to interest-based activities, peers, and that hopefully will look like everything from clubs and organizations that we offer, athletics that we offer, experiences to connect with internships, work apprenticeships, all that type of stuff. But it also is part of our greater community. How are we getting kids connected as well? Because we want to make sure that all of our kids have the opportunity to be connected some way, to something, to an interest, to their peers, to organizations both inside the district and outside of the district as well. And so tonight we have an opportunity, Mike Stern and I were having some conversations, and we've got an organization that's really made a great impact, especially with some of our older kids, and offering a space for our kids to connect outside of school, to build community, to have support, to have a space that they can go to, and actually have their own physical space now that they can go to. So it's my pleasure tonight to introduce Hannon Anderson and Corey Whitford, who run Harlem Campus Life. And so if you've been down North 2nd Street, you may or may not have seen their building just north of Windsor Road, is that right? Yeah. Just north of Windsor Road on North 2nd, they have a new facility. And so they've been supporting a lot of our kids here in the Harlem School District. And so it's just an opportunity for us to recognize them, to both thank them for their commitment to our community, but also for you all to hear a little bit about what their program is, what they offer, and how they create a space for our kids to be connected. So I'm going to turn it over, let these two talk a little bit about their program, and then we'll get a photo. They really want a photo. You want to get a photo. I wasn't sure if the adults wanted photos, but they really want a photo. So
I said anytime I can get a photo with this guy, I'm ready for it. Harlem alum, so this is an honor for me to be here. First I'll say thank you to everyone in the room for being here. Thank you for the opportunity to invest in our students, and it is an honor to work with them. Harlem Campus Life exists to come alongside these students, to help them with their positive choices, to be an ear to them. There's a lot going on. in today, society and all things. And so students come in the doors, and it's a time for them to maybe to receive some refuge, maybe get away from some things that they're maybe experiencing. And we exist to do that. We exist to come alongside them, help them with mentoring, and then to give them a positive message in that thing. We always figure out, we believe that a good way to their hearts is maybe through their bellies, and so we have food every time they're in the building, and they come and they eat, and they have a good time. There's a pool table in there, there's a ping pong table in there, there's TV in there, there's beanbag in there, there's fun in there, and there's people that care and love them. To kind of maybe rewind back to give you a little bit of how it all started was this young man reached out to me a few years ago. I was pastoring a local church and asked me if I was interested in Harlem campus life, and I had no clue what he was really talking about. So did some research, ended up saying yes to the opportunity, and it has been nothing but pure joy. It's a little different to be back in the cafeteria at times with the students, but it's been a pleasure. It's been awesome. We started it in my house because it was a time of COVID and not much was happening. And we started with a handful of kids. And then from there on, it grew, and we got a little bitty suite office across from Sand Park Pool, and we filled it with about 15 kids or so. And that went for about a year. And what happened with that was kids told their friends, and friends told their friends, and they liked it. And then more started coming, and we ran out of room. And so we decided if we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this, and we went all in. And we started, we opened the Campus Life Center, which is on North 2nd Street, right next door to the Christmas store. And we average anywhere between 50 to 60 kids a Monday night. And Monday night is what we call Marathon Monday, because it's a long day. But what it is we have what we call Campus Life Lounge, which is our junior high can walk down from the junior high, can come in, they can get something to eat, they can unwind, and then we're gonna do what we call club, which is very similar to like a youth group kind of setting. They can come, they can experience fun and enjoyment, they can get help with whatever they need. From 4 to 6, will be our junior hires. And that's about 30, maybe 40. That's a lot for junior high, and it's a good time, right? And then after that, at 7 o'clock, from 7 to 9, we have high school, because our high schoolers are involved. They have athletics, they have a lot of things going on. We figured it was better, and it works, that's better for them to come later. So our high schoolers will come. This is where we have a bunch, and it's really, really grown, and it's been really, really awesome to see them flourish and then grow. That's where we do any average between that 50 and 60 range for high schoolers. We have a lot of incoming juniors. That probably our largest class that is currently at Campus Life. But they experience fun, they experience all kinds of things. We've sat and cried with them. We've sat and laughed with them. We've helped them and listened to them through all their things. And so it's an honor to be here. Thank you for your support. Thank you for an opportunity to love on these kids in this community. I'll kind of leave it open to Haddon if he has anything to add, but yeah, thank you.
I'll just add, I want us to say thank you to the school district. I mean, these things are made possible through just a community that wants to invest in you. So thank you guys for partnering with us. I think we're tremendously excited about the development of Campus Life in a short amount of time, in just a few years, and we're just committed to it long term. We're really excited about the facility that we have, and we think there's plenty of more opportunities to come in the future. The only things I'll add is we're just committed to youth across the community. Corey's doing a great job with Harlem Campus Life. We also have outreaches in Rockford through our City Life ministry, so we're in local schools there as well. And we also have a ministry that's working with kids in the justice system. So our heart is to meet youth where they are, and we're excited overall about kind of the momentum our organization has, and as we all know, there's tremendous community need. So we're committed, and we'll keep going onward, and thanks again for partnering with us.
Yeah, if I could just share a quote by a student as we finish. It's in our pamphlet, and I'll leave this for anyone that wants to look at it, but they write this. They said, "I am glad I started coming to Harlem Campus Life, and I'm excited to continue growing and inviting more people from school. I love that it's a place where anyone can come and feel important and loved, as well as talk about God or any other thing going on in our life. I personally think that it's so important, especially right now, that people feel like they have a safe place or safe people to go to. And Harlem Youth for Christ is exactly that." Thank you, Harlem Campus Life students. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, that's what we asked. We have the board and the Harlem School District, obviously, you're one piece to this giant puzzle of creating spaces for all our kids and helping them be connected. And so we appreciate it. We can do so much within our buildings, and we really rely on the community to come around and provide that support. And so I appreciate you, and the numbers are awesome.
Thank you. Yeah.
You guys are doing a great thing there. So without further ado, now you get your opportunity for your photo. So we'll have the board come around, we'll take a photo quick, and then continue on. So if you actually stand facing this way, they're going to come around. So
I'm just gonna stick my head in between.
oh, there you go.
Since I know you're all.
Yeah. All right, perfect. 1, 2, 3. Actually works out real high. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks, guys.
Yeah, appreciate it.
We'll see you later.
Okay, thank you.
You got it crossed up there.
Absolutely. Thanks again. Thank you. Take care.
So as I mentioned, this is an area that we're focusing on. One of our strategies that I'm responsible for is really we're assessing all of the opportunities that our kids have, both in clubs and organizations, athletics, all activities, that type of stuff. And so the next layer of that will be to really assess our community offerings and opportunities, whether it be HCC, Boys and Girls Club, the YMCA, Park District, et cetera. So really this idea that we really want to get our kids opportunities and just present them, whatever their niches, whatever they need, they know what's available to them within the community or within our schools. So thank you to them. I do have one other quick announcement, and then I am done. I just wanted to let you know that in the coming days and weeks, we will be unveiling our nomination form for our newly formed Harlem High School Alumni Hall of Fame. Some of you may be aware that we had a distinguished graduate program a handful of years ago at the high school that recognized one alumni per year. We've revamped that and recognized that as we've done alumni work with Alex Gary, that we've got a lot of alumni doing some awesome things, both locally and across the country and across the world, actually. And so we've really revamped this process, and we have a committee now that has designed a nomination form and a process that will help us recognize multiple alumni every year. Our plan is to recognize up to 2 alumni per decade. And so we've got bylaws. You'll hear more about this coming up, but we're really excited about this project because, like I said, we've got a lot of alumni that are doing some pretty amazing things. And so we will be sending out that nomination form. Our hope is to recognize the inaugural class of the Harlem High School Alumni Hall of Fame here this fall during homecoming week. So it's going to be kind of a quick turnaround, but we've got a committee that's composed of myself, Dr. Boyes. We have 4 staff members and 4 other alumni representing the 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s. So we have various decades represented, and we will be targeting any of our alumni that have been graduated at least 15 years and that are making significant contributions. So the last thing I want to say, and like I said, you'll hear more about this in the coming days, is that really what we're doing is we're going to be looking for individuals that will be nominated based on their job-related achievements, professional honors and awards, professional affiliations, publications, civic or community involvement, personal achievements and accomplishments, or positive impacts on the community in the Harlem School District. And so a variety of things, and you're going to see a lot of awesome stories and a lot of awesome accomplishments. So just want to share that with you. That's going to be coming up here soon. We're really excited about this project and all the alumni that we're going to get to recognize. So that's all I got.
Thanks, Jason.
Thank you.
And there are no comments from the committee, is that correct?
No.
On to that, to the approval of the bills.
All right.
Thanks, Josh.
No problem. All right, the total payables for tonight are $3,839,710.98. There was one payroll in the amount of $4,023,857.95 for total expenditures of $7,863,568.93. Split out by fund, the education fund paid $5,116,152.19. The tort fund paid $1,351,813.37. The operations and maintenance fund paid $310,500. $593.58. Debt service fund paid $600 even. The transportation fund paid $256,840.77. The IMRF Social Security Fund paid $127,596.98. Capital Projects Fund paid $689,872.04. And the Life Safety Fund paid $10,100. Again, for total expenditures of $7,863,568.93. Are there any unanswered bill questions?
Thank you. Time for communications and, sorry, thank you. Can we do a motion on the approval of the bills?
Motion. Second. Mrs. Carlson?
Yes.
Mrs. Hastings?
Aye.
Mrs. Neese? Aye. Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mr. McKnight?
Aye.
Now we can do the communications and committee reports. I'm filling in obviously for Mike Sterling, who is not here. We'll just call out the policy meetings this time around first. The next regular board meeting will be August 7th, 2023, here at 6:00 p.m. We have the next policy committee meeting, which will be August 14th, 2023. That will be at 4:30 p.m. There will be the next business services committee meeting. That will be August 2nd, 2023 at 5:30 p.m. And there will be a recommendation to approve the first reading of policy updates from June 20th, 2023 policy committee meeting. Is that okay? And those will be okay. So we'll go to that as it is. That being said, it is summer. It's usually quite calm, but I'd love to see all the work that's going on in preparation for the next school year. All the work that's going on for the CTE program and the gym that's coming through. It's great seeing online all the pictures of the work that's begun on our playgrounds in anticipation to get those great. It's nice to see the continued effort we're putting into just the facilities to make sure our children have the best opportunities when school starts here very, very soon. Not that, I bet there's somebody that can tell me to the minute and or hour.
21st?
Yep.
So the countdown is on to all of that, as everyone that's getting these projects underway definitely understands. And I look to see some continued potential discussion here on the middle school, and what opportunities we have. There'll be a lot of work there as well as we participate and prepare for our transition for our sixth graders. That said, that would conclude my report. We'll skip over me, obviously, and Evelyn.
Good evening, everyone. First time I ever seen the walls like that, but I know everybody's out on vacation. Just, getting ready and getting prepared for the students, and I hope they're enjoying themselves, and the parents and everybody, and time is going by real fast. They'll be in school pretty soon. And I also wanted to say thank you to, I can't remember the gentleman's name for the campus life.
Oh, yeah. thank you.
Corey.
Corey.
Haddon.
Thank you so much. I think that's a wonderful job, especially with the way society, the climate is now. Students, you never know what's going on in their lives or the different problem things they're having. So it's nice if they have a place that they can go and talk and be able to express themselves and with whatever is bothering them, and to just be able to feel free to talk without anybody labeling them or anything like that. And just wish everybody continue enjoying themselves for the remaining of the time that you have with your students being out, and get prepared for the upcoming year, and hopefully next year, well, I know next year we will have a successful 2023-2024 school year. So thank you, everybody.
Equity.
Oh,
There we
equity.
go.
I knew it was something I was forgetting. The next Equity and Social Justice meeting will be July 27th at 4:30 p.m. at the high school in room 1, West 145. So looking forward to anybody that feels like coming, come. It's a really good group, and we are doing our best. Well, we are doing great things to keep Harlem moving forward. So thank you.
No worries. Larry is out, so I'm sure he would have a nice fun joke to put in place here, and then a theme for it. But the next educational committee meeting will be August 29th, 2023. That would be at 4:30 p.m. Right here. Aaron.
So again, I wanted to thank Corey and Haddon for coming. Actually, I'm friends with Corey outside of here. I've met Haddon a few times. I truly believe in their mission. I was the one that actually asked him to ask for permission to come to a meeting, just because I truly feel that however our students will feel comfortable to talk with somebody else, to be like-minded with somebody else, I think that's a win for everybody. So I said, Corey, here's a phone number, call this and we'll get you in the meeting. But I wanted the district to know if they didn't know what that program was. I talked to some of the same students that he does. My daughter tends to go there, so I talk, and it's just refreshing to them to be able to go there. And so I really hope that program expands for the district and for the students. The last time I knew, they may or may not be looking for a bigger building, because 60 people in that building it's busting at the seams. But so that. One other thing I wanted to look at, so I was looking through some of the policies and stuff. I think I've requested this before, and since I have this much floor time, I'd like to look at the disciplinary matrix, and this is something I'm gonna work with Terrell and other people and see if we can get some basic a little bit more stringent on the guidelines, because I've talked with some faculty and some administration, and there's still some confusion. I mean, not necessarily confusion. I think we need some examples in there. I think I've said it once before, and I'll say it again. I think not to say that this is set in stone, but hey, have the punishment fit the infraction, and these are examples of A, B, C, and D. So with that being said, little over a month left of summer, and we're gonna come out, and I think we're gonna, we're moving forward as a district, and I mean the best I think is yet to come still. So, thank you.
Thanks, Aaron. Rebecca.
I'm thrilled with Campus Life. That's an amazing group of people that can give kids alternative views as well, and can sit with them and work with them and be a light in the darkness sometimes. One of the things that Larry and I had talked about last time we went to the education meeting was some of the bullying that's going on, and I know I had talked with you as well about some of the bullying things, and I looked at some of these policies as well, and I've spoken with Aaron as well about some of it, but to me, this was one of the things, of the two items that were most important to me, this is one of the things that I ran on to be on the board, was bullying, and we have got to eradicate it any way we can. And so, as well as doing the disciplines of the students, and I know with the educational meeting we talked about referrals and in and out of school suspensions, and some of the people that I've met with, I just spent some time with both some former and already employed Harlem employees, and they have come up with some serious bullying and harassment issues with me, and it's very concerning. And so my idea, which hopefully we can put into place, would be a SIP day. I mean, I'm sure all of you have remembered, or your children have been in the DARE program from the 90s and 2000s. Some people have told me there's something they called Scared Straight back in the day, where they kind of went through, just crime and drama and drugs and such. I would like to see a week-long effort on bullying in the same format, where we will just spend time with everybody from pre-K all the way to 12th grade, just working on a bullying program, and I've looked at some curriculum, and I know that Trail and I are gonna sit down probably before school starts and just look into some of these guidelines and ideas. And the thing I would like to see is a SIP day for all employees, not just teachers, not just support staff, but everybody, people in this building, people in all of the other buildings. We're talking maintenance and GPAs and support staff and everything. Getting to because they all have to have a SIP day. Now, I don't know if the administration is supposed to be in SIP days, but I know that, to me, this is very, very important for bullying, for students. I would like to see a day that says, okay, let's do the first half on bullying for students. Let's figure out how to see it, how to get rid of it, how to work with students, how to deal with their issues, how, all of the little aspects of bullying. And then the second half of the day, let's crack down on employee bullying and harassment, and working with employees, with other employees. And are you the bully? Are you the one that needs the work? And how do you work with employees? How do you discuss with employees how to come forward, how not to be bullied because you've come forward, how, you know, just the whole situation of, let's get it out of the district. And I mean, this to me is just, it's infuriating to see some of the things, and some of the things I've been told, where it's just like, oh, I can't tell anybody because everybody else in my group says, well, you're gonna be the one that gets beat up. And we had a few people say something to me recently about, oh, my car was keyed because I mentioned it. I mean, this is just childish stuff that has got to go. It's got to be gone. So if there's any way we can really work on bringing together some kind of a program. And then if we do like a DARE program, I'm thinking, you know, maybe the SIP day would be on a Monday, and then Tuesday through Friday we work with all of the grade levels, and just basically, you know, your young kids, like they used to do with DARE, we're gonna make posters, we're gonna get stars for the day, we're gonna, you know, have special programs on bullying. And then like your high school is even, we can do, excuse me, just the different things in every class. Let's not just talk about it first thing in the morning, let's do it in all the classes. Let's say, okay, the geometry class, how do you get that in a bullying report? Well, you know, you get a kid who doesn't know A plus B equals C, and the kid in the class next to him is making fun of him. Well, you're being a bully. So let's, you know, work on how to make that clear, that don't be a bully. Go and help that kid figure out what that means. So to me, it's just a matter of, let's drill it and drill it and drill it and drill it until they're blue in the face and can't understand what else they need to know. And by the time they're seniors, bullying's gone, and there's nothing to worry about anymore. So it's just something I really want to see gone. So sorry it took so much time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Megan?
All right, happy summer. A couple of things I've heard coming out of the sports camps that have been really cool is the basketball camp did culture camp. Along with the sports element, they looked at some like famous basketball athletes, their challenges and kind of barriers they've overcome, and how when they're feeling those challenges themselves, how they can help themselves and other teammates overcome those challenges. So I thought that was really cool to not only address the physical but the mental with the sports. What else? Oh, end of an era. So I want to thank LaWanda Cooper and Heather Burbich for their work with Harlem Fans Club. They passed the baton, shall we say. I find myself saying go be great frequently. I probably owe LaWanda at least lunch by this time. So end of an era. Thank you so much for your help with Harlem Fans Club, and I look forward to seeing both of you around HHS next year. Battle of the Books. So Principal Edwards got me the list. I'm 3 books in and I'm loving it. So I'm looking forward to reading the books along with the kids this year. So far the selections are fantastic. So really excited to read all the books and then watch how well Terrell does when he battles himself.
Way to put me
So,
Good thing I didn't get that list.
lastly, I am a book person, so if I could throw this little tidbit in here, I had some issues with bullying with my youngest this last school year. It was real tough. They hit that whole, they're hitting that whole like peer acceptance earlier and earlier these years. I thought at 8 we had a couple of years, but no, it's more prevalent than others. So the book that really spoke to us, as well as I did provide her teacher with a copy of the book as well, is Confessions of a Former Bully. I think as much of looking at the bullied is definitely important, looking at the bully is important as well. Because sometimes you don't even know you're the bully. So that's something we read at home. Like I said, she shared it with her classmates she was having a struggle with. Shout out to Love Spark social working team for helping them work through that. They all left the school year smiling and hugging and on good terms. So I do think it is absolutely possible, and we are not hopeless. But I think looking at the bully just as much as the bullied can help us get some insight. And that's my soapbox for the night. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Megan. On to administrative reports. Dr. Schuller.
Thank you. I have 3 items this evening. The first one is an overnight travel. It is for the dance team. They are going to Iowa City. They are leaving on the 21st and returning on the 22nd for that camp. Any questions? All right, my second item, Mr. Smith asked me to attach our June presentation from the Education Committee, and just to kind of give an update as far as where we are with SIP plans. And so right now, SIP teams are meeting throughout the summer, and what they're doing is they're looking at all sorts of data. They're looking at their IAR data, they're looking at their iReady, the 5 essential data, the discipline data, and whatever other data their building thinks is important to look at. And they're really trying to analyze to come up with what is their building strengths, what are their opportunities, what are the weaknesses, and what's considered the threat, and what is the root cause of those problems. And a lot of times people will go through the 5 whys. You say, this is the problem, well, why? And keep going until we can get really down to that root cause, because until you really try to address that, the problem is still there. So from there, their SIP teams are coming up with 4 different priorities. The reason for 4 is they recommend between 3 and 5. You go beyond 5, and typically the work kind of falls off that there's too many things on the plate. So they're coming up with their goals and their different strategies. They have tried to include getting the feedback from multiple stakeholders. A lot of them had sent out surveys and gathered information from staff before even going into the summer. So then as we go into this next school year, just as I shared last year with the different SIP plans with the updates, I will be doing that again this year. And my next item, I don't have a cute video so with music or anything, so I'm just going to tell you that ahead of time.
Should have put one in front anyway.
Oh, come on.
Come on,
I
cat
know.
videos, there's all kinds of.
Even if it doesn't relate.
So one of the things that I shared with you guys the last time is that my goal is, you know, especially since we have so many new faces, that I would like to try to have at least one of each of the meetings be tied to instructional services. A few months ago, we shared, and I know that not everybody was here at the time, but we shared about the preschool program. And you guys got an opportunity to learn about our Birth to 3 program. And then at our last meeting, we shared about our STP program, Structured Teaching Program. And you got to see the opportunity of a program that we have for students to help them. I never remember which one you put it in. That helps all students, because our goal is to meet the needs of all of our different learners. Okay. You know, technology's great when it works. I heard the nice little sound. It should work that time.
Hey, there we go.
Okay. So one of the things that I wanted to kind of go through tonight was the different grants that instructional services oversees. I jokingly have said to Josh that, you know, for years I always had to go to Josh and say, hey Josh, do we have money for something? It made me feel so good to say, hey Mick, do we happen to have money for? Because of the fact that we ended up getting some of these different grants, especially with ESSER. So Josh and I spend a lot of quality time together, and I've learned more about finance than I probably ever thought I would. But I'm still learning, and I'm still a work in progress, and he's patient with me. So these are the different grants that instructional services oversees. And I'm going to go into all of them in more detail, but it's about a total of, we're down to about $28 million worth of grants that the Instructional Services Department oversees. With all of our grants, the first thing that we have to create is what's called a FAFATA, and that is Federal Funding, Accountability, and Transparency Act. This is probably one of the trickiest parts with the whole entire grant. The reason for that is that I only get 255 characters. And those 255 characters have to encompass what I plan on spending all the funds on. So if once I get my grant approved and my FAFATA has been approved, if I decide I would like to bring in this and it does not align to the FAFATA, the state will say no. And so we'll get turned down. Josh made the statement that just recently he looked at one of my fafadas and liked my abbreviations that I use. But again, I'm only allowed 155 characters.
Do emojis count? Can you do
Believe me, there's all sorts of things that I try to do. The other thing that fafada has to, it has to be the purpose of the grant. It has to tie. But for all of our grants, we have to do different forms of needs assessments. So, like after a lot of the PDs and different things that we do, we're constantly sending surveys out to the staff, which they're probably like, why are we getting another one of these? Well, because all of this helps us create our fafadas. Also, our long-range plan helps guide us in creating these. Now, we recently have had some retire, because I just got done saying we're down to 28 million. So we had an after-school program that the state identified a few of our schools for an after-school program. The ESSER Digital, that was one of the first ESSER grants that came out. A lot of that was used for our hotspots. We got Chromebooks for it with those funds. And then some of the resources that we have used when we ended up going remote. So all of a sudden, we needed all sorts of things that we hadn't used before. ESSER 1, which was primarily a focus of getting PPE. And then we had the Transition Service for Youth with Disabilities, or the STEP. Now that is for our students with IEPs to go and get some vocational experience. What we did is when we really did a cost analysis, we were discovering we were spending so much time doing the paperwork to be part of this program that us doing it ourselves, we could get more bang for our buck. So we still offer the same services. We just don't tie to the grant because we had to have personnel that was spending a lot of time doing the paperwork when we want them to be with kids out in the community. So we just kind of changed that focus there. One of our newest grants that we received is our bilingual education grant. This one here is about $24,000, a little over $24,000. And this is to help assist our staff getting endorsements. This is specifically for for people who are on a TBE, which is a temporary bilingual endorsement, or an emergency license. Because one of the areas across the state that we are finding a struggle to find teachers, we know teachers as a whole is tough, but those who are bilingual are very much so. So teachers in our district who are currently on a TBE or an emergency license tied to bilingual education have the opportunity to get reimbursed for some courses. We stipulated where the courses can be from because, again, we want our biggest bang for our buck. And there are a couple of places that it's much more affordable. And so it allows us to give those credits to more people.
Has there been interest on that so far?
Yes, very much so. Though teachers that we have, and we actually had a meeting today talking about how to even open more opportunities. Sure. Because the IRC, what we discovered is because these grants went across the state, well, everybody's saying go to the IRC because the IRC is works with WIDA and works with ESL instruction. And so all these places are choosing IRC. Well, guess what? Now the spots are full. But we found another resource that was going to work.
IRC, sorry? There was a lot of acronyms in the last.
So
IRC. Yes, I was like, there were more acronyms than actual words.
That's not in my acronym list that WIDA is.
Illinois, and I can't remember the R Center.
Well, I have my list.
Resource Center, yes. Illinois Resource Center, and that is for English as a second language teachers and for our multilingual, those who work with our multilingual students.
And WIDA? Or
WIDA? Wisconsin, like I have to go through the, that is the acronym, that's the assessment that all of our ESL students take. Okay. And that's where we figure out their language proficiency. Thank you for stopping me, I appreciate that.
I was 2 seconds away going, WIDA?
Yeah, another one I gotta add to the list. Yeah. So it's a great opportunity. The problem is, and I think I had it on my last slide here, they just gave us the funds last year, and all those funds have to be used up by the end of next summer. So we're trying to help people get as many credits as possible.
Have we
so that
used,
they
how
have
much of that
universal-
funds are we using? Are we on target to utilize all the funds?
They just started using the funds, so like, it just opened at the end of the school year. So
okay.
we have a ways to go, because we had, what, 24? I think 24/7, yeah, 24/7. So the positive is not going to cover everything for all of our teachers who are on a temporary, but it will help support quite a few of them.
Certainly.
This is another one of the newer ones. This is our CTE Educational Career Pathway. It's about $6,500. And this is to fund that educational pathway at the high school. And so the way we are focusing is for curriculum and other resources that will help strengthen that experience. Right now, we have preschool programs that are the courses that are tied at the high school. You may or may not know that our high school kids have like a preschool program with community members. Yes, paw prints. And the positive is that they get this experience. Well, one of the things that we learned when they were taking that next step and going and working at Parker Center for their internship was there were components of instruction and components of the expectations for the Preschool for All grant that they were not familiar with. And so we're taking that opportunity to update some of our preschool curriculum. We end up using creative curriculum, so we got some of that. High Scopes is what Rockford uses, and those are two of, there's only like 3 curriculums that the state will allow us to use, so we took the 2 in this area to give our students the greatest opportunity. It also helps with the dual credit in that pathway. This next one, Dr. Yarbrough had, I believe, shared some information with all of you. So this one, this is the one that we have kept trying to grow. It's our PI, or Prevention Initiative Grant. We have 6 family support specialists. The positive is last year when I pulled the numbers, we supported 140 different students, which is just amazing because these are individuals who are from birth to 3. We have one of our parent educators, well, family support specialists here tonight, but they even work with prenatal. So they're helping families, again, from birth to the age of 3. One of the great things that I'm really excited about this year is that this group came to me and said, how can we work with our high school students? So they are going to meet with high school students, both mothers and fathers, every other week. So twice a month have that opportunity to help support anyone who would have a young one and how to make that transition. So this here is a grant that's around $400,000, and funding-wise, we have not seen much of a change, unfortunately, in the past 6 years. Preschool for All. Preschool for All, it sounds great that it's for all, but it really isn't for all. And I've shared that with you guys several different times. The focus is on those who have been identified as either being at academic risk or families whose income is less than 4 times the poverty guidelines. So we're really trying to make sure that our students who are in greatest need get into the program. There are some things that are automatic qualifiers. If a student is homeless, they are an automatic qualifier. So we have involved Sherry Tucker as part of the process because sometimes families don't know that they qualify when they do. Or sometimes they were falling between the cracks and we were missing them, so Sherry helps us get those students. And then we also have our youth in care. So if they are in the foster care system, they are automatic qualifiers as well. And then our multilingual students get quite a few points for being multilingual to try to help get them that support early on in life.
Does everyone know Sherry Tucker?
No.
She's our homeless liaison.
Yes, and that's part of her title, and then she also works with all of our children who are the youth in care as well, and helps make sure that they receive the transportation and everything that they need.
Is that the same where they talked about, it used to be the one where they would give out like the books and the things before they got to that age, or has this always been something that has been a person that's kind of
With what
running
I was
this?
just referring to
Yes.
Preschool for All?
Yes.
The Preschool for All is the preschool program that had been there. The books that they used to give was part of the, like, I Read and the United Way. The United Way used to give us books every month to give to our students. ESSER 2 followed our ESSER 1. This is supposed to be really focused on addressing the impacts that COVID has had in both our elementary and secondary schools. Funds, the way that we've used the funds is for support staff, resources, both digital and physical resources, PPE and cleaning supplies, air purifiers, we've made sure we've had plenty of those, recruitment of staff, HVAC control system, also our playground equipment, because one of the things was we had kids so close together, as you saw what our playgrounds look like, by being able to spread them out. They're not on top of one another, and then the multi-purpose room for the same purpose. Another ESSER 2 grant is the post-secondary grant. This one I have recently requested different items from the board, or you've seen Jake on those memos. So these are tied to post-secondary opportunities for students. Those could be through any college or career pathway. It started out with us working with one goal, and it's linked to those different post-secondary experiences. The most recent, we talked about the coaching cycles that the ROE is also going to help provide, along with the software, the U-Science, for the career exploration and industry credentials, and then software to track students' post-secondary programs. But this is timely because I just recently requested some things from that particular grant. So ARP is the ESSER 3 grant. This one's a little interesting because, as Josh will share, like, this is probably one of the trickier ones because you have to have funds from different areas, and it's like a whole spreadsheet of how we have to keep track of how the funds are being used. A minimum of it has to be for 20% has to be from loss of learning. So I know that when I came in, we talked about like the letters training, and I said this directly ties, and we need to use those funds. So that's one of the parts. Summer enrichment, so our ESY programming and our summer programming, and then after school programming as well. Some of the tutoring that we offer. More of the tutoring is done at the middle and the high school level. We also have used these funds for staff for interventionists. We continue to use it for hotspots for families if they say that they have needed hotspots. Cybersecurity became a big thing when we had everybody online. You know, it would just moved everything up to a new level. Our CTE facility, PPE, and then those bonuses when we were working on trying to get the staff.
Rock cuts in there too.
Yes, and rock cut is in there too. Title I. So Every Student Succeeds Act is what ESSA stands for, but it is the Title I grant. And the whole purpose of Title I is to try to give equitable resources. So they look at which of our schools have more students coming from a higher poverty rate or higher low SES, and we'll try to give more funds. So the state, we have all of our numbers for our population, our enrollment goes into it, our percentage of students from low income goes into it, and I don't know how this whole formula from the state, but they give me an amount of money that must be spent at each of the buildings. Yes?
What are the parameters of low income? I'm just curious because some of those numbers are astoundingly high, and I'm just curious on what's considered low income.
They qualify for free reduced lunches.
Okay, that's what I was kind of thinking.
Yep.
But
There's federal guidelines for that
Right.
per how many people live.
That's kind of where I was tying it into, that's what I.
Yep.
Okay.
So, just so that all of you knew where we were for across the district, I wanted to share these numbers. So one of the things is the numbers that I pull have to be from the last 6 months. And these numbers were from May, just so that you know when they were pulled. But based off of these numbers, it gives me an allocation of what they say I need to spend at each school. So we as a district have focused our funds on our elementary. And we focused on 1st through 6th because kindergarten, they're there 1 year and they move on. And so we really try to get those interventions and as many resources as we can at our elementary level. Now, one of the things with this grant is, along with the others, I can't do what's called supplanting. So for example, one of the newest positions that we created from this was our math interventionist positions. And that was, it's not at all of our buildings. It really is at our buildings that have some of our highest frame reduced populations at our elementaries. And the reason for that is that they get more funds than our buildings with a lower SES and a lower percentage of low income. So you're going to see that things are not necessarily even. I can't use local funds then and say, Olson Park, you do not have this opportunity. I'm going to use local funds now if some planted. The funds are meant to give these schools above and beyond. So that's the purpose of that. This is one that there's often a lot of questions. One of the things about the funds with Title I is that our students who go to private parochial, it follows them. Now the interesting thing is let's say Shelley and I both go someplace from our district to a private or parochial school. And one of us would qualify for free and reduced and the other one does not. So the money goes to that private parochial. Let's say I'm the one who qualifies, but I don't need the services. As long as she's a Harlem student, the funds can go towards her. If neither one of us need the services and there's just 1 or 2 of us, then the school doesn't, they have to show that there's the need for that extra academic support. Title II is that professional development, the professional development funds that we receive. So this can go for principals, it can go for teachers, other school leaders. I can use the funds on paraeducators, but I cannot use it for other different support staff. Any professional development that I would send somebody to must be in the state of Illinois. The only way I can send them out of the state of Illinois is to get pre-approval, and I have to prove that that professional development is not offered in the state. If there's anything equivalent, the state will turn it down. It's the state wanting to keep their funds in the state.
Of course.
Is there a reason, Michelle, that they don't do support staff?
Because they want the funds to go with those who directly do instruction with students or instructionally with students. So that's why a paraeducator I can, but a secretary I cannot. But we use the funds for curricular development, SIP days, and institute days. Our Title IV is for our well-rounded education, and this is where the other thing is for safety and digital literacy. So I cannot spend more than 15% of this grant in technology. Title IV follows our students as well, or follows this, let me take a step back. Title II and Title IV does not necessarily follow our students, it's for the schools in our area. So St. Bridget's, Concordia, they get a portion of 2 and 4. If Concordia or St. Bridget's would say that they want to buy technology, and my 15% of the grant, which for Title IV, oh, I didn't write that one down, of course. If I exceed when I figure out that 15%, their amount is considered in there. It is not just our 15%, so we have to add those two numbers together. But this is where school safety comes in. This is where our fine arts, we try to get some funding there. AP classes, advanced learner program. So trying to get some of the well-rounded where I don't necessarily have funding sources other places. Title III. Title III is for our language instruction, and this is really focused on our ELs. It can go towards professional development, it can go towards resources, it can go towards family involvement and engagement. Part of Title III, they have to have what's called a BPAC meeting, which is a bilingual parent group that meets, and before that grant is submitted, the president of that group has to sit down with our director and agree where those funds are going. So saying yes, they acknowledge, feel like we are meeting the needs of our students. There's always a big BPAC activity in the spring, but they do them throughout the year as well. But parents and community, or parents is a part of this particular grant. All right, I'm getting closer, you guys. Sorry, there's quite a few of them. Idea flow through. So idea flow through, our students with IEPs can stay here through 21. And so these funds stay with the child from ages 3 through 21 to try to make sure that they get that free, appropriate public education in the least restrictive environment possible. So this helps with some of our students who are a part of some of our outside organizations for their transition as they have completed high school, but we're trying to get them ready for the next step of their life. It can be used towards salaries, social work help. Some of our funding is going towards using vocal vision and some of those outside agencies for like psychologists. We can't find them, they're difficult to find. But also for physical therapists, specialized consultants, some of our bilingual IEPs, etc. But these funds are strictly focused to our students with IEPs, where our preschool idea is the same type of thing, but it's focused for our students from ages 3 through 5. It also helps with our Child Find event. Child Find, we offer 1 to 2 child finds every month. And what that is we invite the community in via appointments, and we screen the students to see if they need any assistance academically or maybe social emotionally, and try to get them into our preschool program. Often our family support specialists are also trying to see if there's any kiddos in the family 0 to 3 that we can also provide services for. ESSER 3 flow through, just like everybody else as they got ESSER money, so did IDEA, and that is to help support ESY as well. We do have to help support our private parochial schools in the area for students who need additional supports in speech, and so the funds also go there. And then we also had problems filling subbing positions, so we made sure for full-time subs so that we didn't have somebody different all the time with our students who need the greatest amount of support. Same things with our preschool, focusing on the preschool specialized programming. McKinney-Vento is one that the ROE oversees, but we just talked about Sherry Tucker a few minutes ago, and she does we do the ordering, we end up sending the quarterly reports, and they reimburse us. And there have been a couple times that I have come to the board saying we would like to purchase this, and it had to do with her safety program, and I believe it was some online license was the most recent thing that I had brought forward. But other things that we purchased is some materials and gas cards, clothing for the students, shoes for physical education, things that they need so that they will be successful at school and safe at home. And she too received some ESSER funds to give an extra bonus for that. Then another grant that we have, and this is our Title, not to get confused with the other Title I, this is our Title I school improvement. This is based on if you do not receive a rating of distinguished or commendable, the state provides funding for additional support for your school. You get 3 years of support, but remember, I don't know if you remember, Kurt, when we talked about needing to be on a special list from the state, that's this Empower list. So this is where that list comes from, is that from Illinois Empower, they have a list of professional development. So this was the last year for HMS, pending what we get for our ratings, and Windsor has 1 more year. Our newest one, and Tricia actually helped us write this, but we did get some money from the United Way. The United Way is helping support our PI and PFA as money has become more and more tight. Really focusing on the lending library, and then also the home visiting program, making sure that we can get additional resources. And then our class in session is a really neat thing that we do. Class in session is for our preschool parents, and what we do is we invite them in, and our parent educators kind of talk about what's happening in the classroom, and then the parents go in and help support the classroom, but then can take those skills that they learn how to work with their students back home with them. So it's a really neat program that we have, and a great opportunity that our parent educators provide. So I know I threw a lot of different grants, but there's a lot of moving parts whenever we talk about funding. And
That's it?
Can you send the deck out to us?
Yeah, I was gonna say, can we get that deck from you?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Please.
I will
Yeah.
share that with you.
Thank you.
But it's just, Josh and I meet with the Instructional Services Department quarterly to make sure that we're staying on target, because we have to make sure funding-wise, some of these, I mean, if I don't spend it, we lose it, and some they give us the funds ahead of time. The last thing we want is that they've given us funds and then we have to pay them back. And the tricky part is that for all of these, there's specific rules, and you have to know the different rules. And so just because you may want to purchase something, or you heard this place purchased it or that place purchased it, well, again, like I said, even in my FFATA, I look down to those few characters, and if I didn't cover it in those few characters, I don't care what school district was able to buy it, I don't have that opportunity. So just a lot of rules.
Do we have like an audit program or something to make sure that we kind of go through and that's self-regulated, how to make sure that we're using all those funds?
That's cool.
So our auditors have to pull a certain number of federal programs, and then on a rolling basis, ISB will randomly send us letters. It ends up, it used to be 3 or 4, but it's been a little bit more than that. And they'll pick programs and then they'll come in and dig in. So our auditors will randomly pick some. We meet quarterly to try and make sure that where we need to be. Our auditors look at some, and then the state will randomly pull some also.
Flying colors, I hope?
It's been a little while, but yeah.
So thank you. Like I said, I was just trying to, I'll get you the presentation, but just trying to fill you in a little bit something different
Very
for
helpful.
instructional services.
We see all the, where the funding sources are coming through.
Correct.
This is
Because I
services. It's nice to
keep
kind of
bringing
go
it
through.
up, saying like this is coming from this and this is coming from this, so.
Now we just need a whole, like, abbreviation list for that presentation, so I can decode it with a highlighter, like, color it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Josh?
All right. And we have 19 items now that we've crossed one off, so.
Yes. Short list.
My first item tonight is a recommendation to approve a resolution declaring surplus at Olson Park, the Administration Center, Loves Park, and Parker Center. Questions of it? We removed the facility request. They no longer were requesting that, so that's what
I'm
we
so
pulled.
excited about that.
For
Who was it? I forgot.
Rockford
Rockford
Lightning.
Lightning.
Ah, yes, that was.
I want them to play close to, like, here.
They went to a bigger facility that holds more people, so.
They went to Rockford University, I think.
Yeah. All right, so item B3 is a recommendation to accept the May 2023 Treasurer's Report. And we spent like a half an hour at Business Services talking about the Treasurer's Report, so that was That was good. That's probably the longest treasurer's report review we've done, so.
There's always the next one, though.
I won't have it. Next one's audit.
No.
So, no treasurer's report for a little while.
Well, I'm glad we went with the bang then.
There you go.
We did. It was a long meeting.
My next item is a recommendation to approve an agreement. It says with vending machine company, but the agreement's with Pepsi for 5 years. So this is for vending at high school, middle school, and admin center and property services. And that is our current vendor on that. We've spent many months we looked at Coke and Taylor Treats, who's at RPS. And Pepsi had the best proposal was full service. Coke is not full service, so anymore. And then we really evaluated Taylor Treats, and Pepsi was the best proposal there. So the recommendation is for Pepsi for 5 years.
That's why Larry's not here.
I was gonna say it. I'm so mad at you.
Does anyone have any questions on that?
Is that like for sales of pop products, or is that just something that provides for teachers or students or kind of everybody?
So this actually covers a couple different things. So it's the vending machines at the high school. It does also cover some of the beverages that are a la carte in that high school line only. There's one machine at the middle school, which is water. The machine here and down transportation is drivers, and here's this building. And so they follow the National School Lunch Guidelines of what they can serve. There's really not much pop. It's mostly things like water, Vita Ice, Juice Propel, Gatorades that meet. And then during the lunchtime, they're shut off so that they're serving the meals. And so they follow all those guidelines. So like with Pepsi, they'll give $4,000 up front. On the stuff that goes to the food service line, it's a case rebate of $2 back. The stuff that goes through the vending machine is a 20% commission, and that goes back to the schools. So it's money that comes in, but it gets divvied up by where it's spent, and then it follows all the national guidelines for that. So.
Do we seem to be going through all of these beverages continuously, like it's always being refilled, or are there some ways that you can like reduce some of this extra fat and sugar and stuff?
So the sugar piece is one of those that's controlled federally, which is why you see water and sugar-free kind of options. In total, it was 1,000 cases of 24 bottles per case in the vending machine, and 2,400 that come through the line. I think I have them in the right order. So I think they're decent numbers, but they're not like regular Pepsi that's being served.
And do we actually make money on this stuff, or are we just doing this for the convenience of the students?
So the food service stuff gets $2.50
Right,
back for
right,
what they
okay.
purchase. So it kind of just nets their purchase there.
Right.
The commission at the schools goes back into their activity accounts and does get
Oh,
spent
okay, so
within
it
the
does go back
building
to the
that
kids
way.
then.
As long as you don't count Josh's time
Hey,
with
right,
all this
well.
work.
Yes, it's been
Or the
30
business
hours to make
services
12
meeting,
bucks.
right?
It's been a lot of work. Are there any other questions with that one? Next is a recommendation to approve an agreement with Quaver Music for 1 year subscription at a total cost of $12,600, and this is paid for with Title IV funds. You're gonna hear a lot of those funding sources that she just went through in these items, and a lot of these items are renewals for the upcoming year that run through Mickey's
So we'll call
department.
out, like, some of these too will be ones that we used ESSER grants for that are expiring, that we are now either using local funds or trying to find other sources for. And that's the importance, as we go through this, is making sure these programs, once that particular funding source is gone, are still valuable for the cost they are. And there's been some, I think, important changes that have been made, right? Like, iReady is going to be now only, what, next year?
After one more year of having
One
the
more year
personal
for
license.
everyone, and then but it's gonna be far limited to only the students that absolutely need it. So that's one case, but to watch for those coming is important.
Right.
Yep. Any other questions? Good. Next is a recommendation to approve an agreement with Teaching Strategies Gold for a 1 year subscription at a cost of $7,873, and that's paid with local funds. And there is a memo attached that just touches a small amount of information on each of these, and then we talk more in depth at business services.
Business services is the place to be.
Really is.
Yeah, it's definitely
Questions,
interesting.
though?
Josh, could you hit 11B5 Quaver Music? I don't believe you said that one.
You did.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I didn't hear it.
I gotta make it more exciting soon.
Sorry.
Change your voice a little bit here.
All right, 11B7 is a recommendation to approve an agreement with Mystery Science for a one-year subscription at a total cost of $11,160, and that is also paid with local funds. Questions on Mystery Science? Okay. Next is a recommendation to approve an agreement with STEM Scopes for a one-year subscription at a total cost of $15,222.21, and that is paid with local funds. Next is a recommendation to approve an agreement with Curriculum Associates for grades K through 8 for a one-year subscription cost of $169,394.50, funded by ESSER. And this is that bigger one that Kurt was talking a little bit about, that will shift after this year. Does anyone have any questions on Curriculum Associates? Okay, next is a recommendation to approve an agreement with Ed Puzzle for a one-year subscription at a total cost of $14,570, and that is paid with ESSER 3 funds. Next is a recommendation to approve an agreement with DBQ Online for a one-year subscription at a total cost of $4,000, paid with Title IV funds. Any questions on that? Okay. Next is a recommendation to approve an agreement with Certiport for a one-year subscription at a total cost of $1,339.47, paid with local funds.
And I would assume most of the stuff is offered to the kids like with their Chromebooks, or is this something that's only in the classroom on the teacher's board, or?
I think it depends.
So like the Certiport is to get certification, so that would be within the classroom to make sure that you would get special certification for the Microsoft products.
Yeah,
So
That's the best bang for the buck, I think.
That is
That's
amazing price on that
You
one, by
can
the way.
get certified in Microsoft products for that cost.
it was 42
Fantastic.
students that I looked up
You realize
that
a college,
received
it
that
takes
last time.
full
Yeah.
semesters to pay for.
I did Excel only and it was $250.
Well, there you go.
So that's just
And I
Excel.
did the Microsoft suite, and like, yeah,
Yeah.
it was like $650 or $700.
So it's well
for the whole
worth
file.
it for our
Yeah.
kids.
Who's gonna use Excel besides like everybody?
Yeah.
It just seems like a lot, excuse me, a lot of their learning is on their Chromebooks and not like paper handouts anymore and such like that.
We still print a ton, so, but yeah.
Didn't you see the paper budget?
No.
Of the last-
I haven't gotten through.
This is the printer one where you bought our own.
I think there is a decent amount of the Chromebooks, but it really varies too. Not all of this is Chromebook things, but some of it is.
It's just
Pays for the
interesting how much.
certification.
I know with all these, I go through my kids and go, have you heard of this? And do you like it or not? And that definitely factors in. Hopefully you do the same.
Yep. Do you know what this is? Can you tell me what it does?
Exactly,
Yeah.
same
Or
conversation.
the whole, what you doing?
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
I can tell you they retain the programs and they do, I don't know if it happens with, Kurt's family as well, but they talk about them.
Yeah.
I went to school, I watched, this and read a report on this and we got to do this animal and yeah, they're being used.
Mystery Science is the big one.
Yes,
I don't think
Mystery
they
Science
talk
is
to me
very
about
popular
it.
in my house,
Yeah.
yep.
It was a positive move that we
Yeah.
made
Yes.
for the K-5.
Very popular.
Sorry,
No, you're good.
back on track.
My next item is a recommendation to approve an agreement with McGraw-Hill Connect One for a one-year subscription at a total cost of $14,870.90, and that is paid with local funds.
That's for the.
Dual credit classes.
Dual credit, correct?
Mm.
Yes,
Yeah.
the 3 dual
Valley.
credit
Another
classes.
one that's just fantastic program.
For the price.
Yeah.
Yes.
Amazing.
And one of the reasons that all of these are on here tonight is Dr. really tried to put all of these together, and one here, one there, so we tried to just lay it all out before the school year started, so.
Perfect.
Every year.
I try. Doesn't mean that there aren't some that pop up.
Okay, next is a recommendation to approve a 2-year extension with Evaluise for a total cost of $14,922.60, paid with local funds. This was a no-cost increase, and we did clarify from business services because the one she said 27-28. This is for school year 25-26. Our current contract ends in 24, so it's a 2-year extension. So we did confirm that, and that held the cost for that. So this is our
Yeah.
evaluation program for teachers.
Teachers, yes.
Correct. Any questions on that? Okay. Next is a recommendation to approve a 2-year agreement with Honest Games for NCAA academic eligibility tracking for students at a total cost of $7,000, so it's $3,500 a year for that. And there's a memo from Rebecca Carr regarding how this helps students navigate the NCAA eligibility clearinghouse.
Yeah, some good discussion on that.
Is there any questions on that? Okay. Next is a recommendation to approve an intergovernmental agreement with Rock Valley College for the Running Start program. There's a memo attached that talks about Running Start and dual articulated credit from Jake Hubert.
And I just wanted to point out, $50.
Yes.
$50 for a course that's for the students that take these courses through record. $50.
It's fantastic.
So we're seeing the opportunity of graduating with your associates?
Yes.
Well, that one's
Fun.
that's $155 for credit for the Running Start. The $50 is for all of our dual credit classes.
Dual credit, yeah.
Still,
Yep.
$50, you're still getting credit, college
I don't think you
credits.
can say either
Yes.
one of those loud enough.
Yes, I just
No,
wanted
the
to highlight
opportunity
that.
to have
yes.
your high school diploma in hand with your associates,
Yeah,
like,
it's
come on, that was not even
mind-boggling.
like,
My younger
that didn't
self,
even
yeah.
cross my mind.
No.
So, yeah.
That's okay. So I just wanted to point that out, $50.
You can tell those
I'm
credit
gonna say
unions went to Rock Valley.
$50.
That's
All right, thank you,
Go
sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Well, the next one kind of talks into that. It's a recommendation to approve a memo of understanding with Rock Valley College for the dual articulated credit courses there. So they're two different agreements, but they're kind of merged together in that recommendation. So. Next is a recommendation to approve an intergovernmental agreement with the City of Loves Park. This relates to Rock Cut and the water tower. This is the follow-up that we talked about. The agreement is sitting at your place. The attorneys, both sides have hammered out all of substantive details. We did have to get the deed. The engineer has the deed and is now writing the complicated words of splitting that parcel. So my recommendation for this tonight is contingent upon attorney review and the addition of the legal description in that.
And this is to get the kids the field before school?
They're
or
gonna try and do it
during
as
And
soon
get it
as
fenced
soon
in
as
too, they're
possible.
gonna fence off
The
that for the
fence,
runners
yes.
too, so they can't have access to all.
But just to clarify, it's nothing to do with the
It's not the
water
sports
tower,
rights.
it's specifically they wanna get the kids the park changes.
Yep, and the city is attempting to pass this tonight too. So then,
Awesome.
if both sides pass, they'll hammer the description detail and then can
And
move
then you
forward with
feel-
that, so.
Yeah, the writer of that agreement is great, where like, if there was like the clear escalation of like,
Mhm.
let's not let this slip.
Yeah,
And they can't put a casino on the rest of the property.
no casino.
No.
We already figured that
We
out.
verified.
No gaming, no nothing on the rest of the property.
Any other questions? Okay. So next is a recommendation to a 3-year renewal, to approve a 3-year renewal with Google Workspace for Education Plus with an annual cost of $28,287 for a total cost of $84,000. There's a digit missing there, so let me get the actual.
Yeah.
84,861.
All right, there you go, yep. So, and
For
there-
3 years.
there's a memo from Aaron Gusky, our tech director, regarding why he feels like this is important to have in his department. And we do a lot of things through Google from staff and students. So, and we currently have used this for, I think, 3 years now, so. Any questions on that? All right, we're down to my last item. It's a recommendation to approve a 3-year renewal of Lightspeed Relay, which includes our web filtering and classroom management, for a total cost for both licenses is $90,720. That's for 3 years. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, and so that is our main internet filter and classroom management tool. So, are there any questions on that? Those are my items.
Hey, thank you.
Yep.
Kelly Wagner,
Good evening.
hello.
Tonight, I have the recommendation to approve the personnel agenda and addendum. So we have addendum tonight. We have 36 transfers, 1 leave of absence, 27 employments, good number, yes, and 16 resignations. That's it.
I was wondering if we could go into a closed session to discuss one of the transfers.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things we're gonna move the voting on.
We're gonna go,
approving
I think we're gonna go to a closed session first to discuss, and then we'll figure out where we go from
this.
there.
Correct.
Yes.
Just basically moving that one way or the other.
Yeah.
Terrell?
So we can, want me to go into this now before closed session? Because we can go into closed session to discuss that.
Oh, do you wanna do that now?
Yeah. Let's do
Yeah.
that now.
Okay, let's do that.
Yeah.
So let me, motion to go into closed session to discuss employment and personnel, 5 ILCS 120/2C1.
A motion?
Second. Mrs. Hasty? Aye. Mrs. Leeks? Aye. Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mr. McKnight?
Aye.
Mrs. Carlson? Aye.
All right. We do it.
Terrell's report.
We are going to move on now to Terrell's report.
All right, so thank you. I have 3 FOIAs here to talk about. So we got one, the first one is a request submitted on June 15th of 2023 by NBC reporter Catherine Smizer, requesting information on FOIA litigation for the district, and the district response dated June 20th, 2023. The second FOIA request submitted on June 23rd of 2023 by Joshua Chatterton of Prairie State Wire, requesting information on board members, and the district response dated June 26th of 2023. Then the final FOIA submitted on June 8th, 2023 from Vince Espy of Prairie State Wire, requesting information on DEI vendors, diversity, equity, and inclusion from January 1st, 2019 through the current date, in our district's 5-day request, and additional request for clarification and time for item 4. That concludes my report.
That board information, just their names or social security numbers or?
Names, addresses, phone numbers.
That's all
Birth
I'm
dates
saying.
I did not give because I don't keep those.
Yeah.
Well, I got a card for them.
So now, do we assume because we don't have the answers, we just assume that the answers are either yes or no, or we don't know the answers to these requests, or?
If
I
we
mean,
don't
if
have it,
you
we
know, 'cause
say
it just
no.
says the district's
Yeah, if we don't-
We
response.
say decline.
You will say
know, or-
declined or no.
Oh, okay,
or something
okay,
like that.
okay.
Sometimes it's partially approved based on what we.
Okay.
Okay, consent agenda. 12A, approve the personal agenda and addendum. Can I get a motion? Motion?
Second.
Mr. Thompson,
Aye.
Mr. McKnight,
Aye.
Mrs. Carlson,
Aye.
Mrs. Hastings,
Aye.
Mrs. Smith, aye.
Approve, no, there was no, oh no, there is student travel, there's no facility, that's what it is. Approve student travel requests.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. McKnight,
Aye.
Mr. Carlson,
Aye.
Mrs. Carlson, I'm sorry. Mrs. Hastings,
Aye.
Mrs. Smith, aye. Mr.
Aye.
It's Monday.
Okay, no, this one.
No facility requests, so moving on to action items. 13A, approve target policy for
Oh.
20,
Oh, no, that should have been taken.
That should have been taken off, I guess. I missed.
Sorry about that.
13B, yeah, that's right.
Couldn't we go all the way down and approve them all at the same time? I thought we did that.
So these are action items.
These are
They
action
need
items.
They
individual.
need separate vote.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, because
Okay.
I was back in my corner.
13B, approve resolution declaring surplus property. Can I get a motion?
Second.
Mrs. Carlson,
Aye.
Mrs. Hastings,
Aye.
Mrs. Smith, aye. Mr. Thompson,
Aye.
Mr. McKnight,
Aye.
13C, approve acceptance of May 2023 treasurer's report. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Mrs. Hastings,
Aye.
Mrs. Smith, aye. Mr. Thompson,
Aye.
Mr. McKnight,
Aye.
Mrs. Carlson,
Aye.
13D, approve a contract with Pepsi for 5 years. Can I get a
Motion. Motion.
Second?
Mrs. Hastings,
Aye.
Mrs. Smith, aye. Mr. Thompson,
Aye.
Mr. McKnight,
Aye.
Mrs. Carlson,
Approve an, 13E, approve an agreement with Quavar Music for 1-year subscription at a total cost of $12,600, paid with Title IV funds. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
second. Mrs. Smith, aye. Mr. Thompson,
Aye.
Mr. McKnight,
Aye.
Mrs. Carlson,
Aye.
Mrs. Hastings,
Aye.
13F, approve an agreement with Teaching Strategies Gold for 1-year subscription at a cost of $7,873, paid with local funds.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Thompson,
Aye.
Mr. McKnight,
Aye.
Mrs. Carlson,
Aye.
Mrs. Hastings,
Aye.
Mrs. Smith, aye.
13G, approve an agreement with Mystery Science for a 1-year subscription at a total cost of $11,160, paid with local funds.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Thompson,
Aye.
Mr. McKnight,
Aye.
Mrs. Carlson,
Aye.
Mrs. Hastings,
Aye.
Mrs. Smith, aye.
Approve 13H, approve an agreement with STEM Scopes for a 1-year subscription at a total cost of $15,222.21, paid with local funds.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. McKnight?
Aye.
Mrs. Carlson?
Aye.
Mrs. Hastings?
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks? Aye. Mr. Thompson?
Aye. 13I, approve an agreement with Curriculum Associates for grades K through 8 for a one-year subscription at a cost of $169,394.50, funded by ESSER 3.
Motion.
Second. Mrs. Carlson?
Aye.
Mrs. Hastings?
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks? Aye. Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mr. McKnight?
Aye.
13J, approve an agreement with Edpuzzle for a one-year subscription at a total cost of $14,570, paid with ESSER 3 funds.
Motion.
Second.
Mrs. Hastings?
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks? Aye. Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mr. McKnight?
Aye.
Mrs. Carlson?
Aye.
13K, approve an agreement with DBQ Online for a one-year subscription at a total cost of $4,000, paid with Title IV.
Motion.
Second.
Mrs. Hastings?
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks? Aye. Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mr. McKnight?
Aye.
Mrs. Carlson?
Aye.
13L, and approve an agreement with Certiport for a one-year subscription at a total cost of $1,339.47, paid with local funds.
Motion.
Second. Mrs. Meeks? Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Thompson? Mr. McKnight?
Different seats?
Mrs. Carlson?
Aye.
Mrs. Hastings?
Aye.
It's time to go.
13N.
We're going.
Approving a two-year extension with EvalueWise for a total cost of $14,922.60, paid with local funds.
Motion.
Second.
Mrs. Meeks? Aye. Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mr. McKnight?
Aye.
Mrs. Carlson?
Aye.
Mrs. Hastings?
Aye.
Kurt, did you skip one?
You skipped
Yeah.
McGraw Hill.
Did I? I'm, all right. 13M.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you.
Did I not hear
We were
that?
just going through them.
I checked before I read. Approve an agreement with let's just start that over. 13N, approve an agreement with McGraw-Hill Connect for a one-year subscription at a total cost of $14,870.90, paid with local funds.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mr. McKnight?
Aye.
Mrs. Carlson? Mrs. Hastings?
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks? Aye.
Did I get N? I was now.
You did get out.
We're in the O.
I'm in O.
Now
All
you're
right,
in.
now I'm all caught up. 13O, approve a two-year agreement with Honest Game for NCAA academic eligibility tracking for students at a cost of $7,000.
Motion.
Second. Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mr. McKnight?
Aye.
Mrs. Carlson?
No.
Mrs. Hastings?
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks? Aye.
13P, and approve a intergovernmental agreement with Rock Valley College for the Running Start program.
Motion.
Second. Mr. McKnight?
Aye.
Mrs. Carlson?
Aye.
Mrs. Hastings?
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks? Aye. Mr. Thompson?
Yes. Approve a memorandum of understanding with Rock Valley College for dual articulated credit courses.
Motion.
Second.
Mrs. Carlson?
Aye.
Mrs. Hastings?
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks? Aye. Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mr. McKnight?
Aye.
13R, approve intergovernmental agreement with City of Loves Park contingent upon attorney review and the addition of the legal description.
Motion.
Second. Mr., oh gosh, I got messed up on here. Oh,
That was you, Hastings.
Mrs. Hastings?
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks? Aye. Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mr. McKnight?
Aye.
Mrs. Carlson?
Aye.
13S, approve a 3-year renewal with Google Workspace for Education Plus with an annual cost of $28,287 and a total of $84,861 paid with Technology Department budget.
Motion.
Second.
Mrs. Hastings?
Aye.
Mrs. Meeks? Aye. Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mr. McKnight?
Aye.
Mrs. Carlson?
Aye.
13T, approve a 3-year renewal for Lightspeed Relay, which includes web filtering and classroom management for a total cost for both licenses of $90,720 paid with Technology Department budget.
Motion.
Second.
Mrs. Meeks, aye. Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mr. McKnight?
Aye.
Mrs. Carlson?
Aye.
Mrs. Hastings?
14 is going to be announcements and discussions. I just wanted, no? Okay, I just wanted to bring up one thing. I know Mike had mentioned it, and I had some thoughts to it, and it kind of goes back to the piece of the middle school of, I know we're going to be doing the life and safety survey, and that's going to be critically important on kind of areas where to focus on the middle school. But I think we really need to look at, we don't have much ground, and also budget's another concern, but what we can start to do with those portables. What options do we have in that available in that area of either having some sort of building where we can bring them in to where it's safer, or protecting that area further, and just making sure we kind of get that on the agenda and what other people's thoughts are. That being said, I think the middle school really needs some focus on it. Of, that's one area, I think safety that's around there, and then what improvements do we need to do, because we need to focus with these students moving in space. And I can't speak for Mike, but I can speak for myself of just, what are we doing to make sure that the issues are, all the issues are potentially identified, and we have the action items of what's going to be done there. And I know I brought this up specifically to you as well, Terrell, of kind of the importance there. And I want to get other people's thoughts and discuss this in open session too.
It's at the top of my mind as well. I mean, Terrell and I have touched base. I brought up a neighboring district has in place a summer camp for their 5th to 6th graders to help them with the transition. I brought that idea up, and it would, would be used in any capacity that we wanted it to. School tours, how to change classrooms, what your grading is like. Here's your extracurricular teachers, and even somebody's brought to me like what peer to peer, meeting 7th, 8th, and 8th graders and getting a familiar face in the crowd, those sorts of things. But I think there's two priorities when I look at the middle school transition for me is, what can we do for the stakeholders and the kids that are going to be directly impacted, the families that are going to be directly impacted in class 1. How can we make that easier? And the second thing is, I think you've already touched on it, is let's use this year the best of our ability to kind of sift out any high priority items, and then just get through them, do what we can to make it literally the best possible situation we can day one, walking into, the first 6th class walking into the middle school, so.
I have a statement about the portables, and it may sound dumb, but in my head it sounds right. But because they are portable, if you go to the back of the school in that small parking lot that's back there, it's fenced in back there. What's to say that we wouldn't lose any parking if we moved the portables from up front to the back where it's already fenced in? I feel that would kind of address part of our safety concern. And then we could open up where the portables are for those extra 10 or 12 spots that are back there, and we could just move them. I get it, maybe the teacher might have to walk a little bit further to their classroom, but if I recall right, it's fenced in back there because I remember them opening the fence to let the buses in back there. So if they're portable, are they really portable? And can we move them in a fenced in area?
I don't think it is fenced in back there.
It's partially, at least partially fenced in back there.
Food service.
The whole parking's wide open. It's like $150,000 to move that portable around the corner.
I got a
What do
guy.
they cost new? What does portable cost new?
Well, you gotta pour the foundation, you gotta break them apart, electricians. We've moved them, we moved them here originally, we moved the H91 to Rock Cut, I think as that enrollment drops and you don't need them at some point, but moving them for a few years and then getting rid of them.
I didn't know, I'm just thinking.
No, yeah,
That's you, Josh.
Hey,
Shine
I've moved a mobile home before with my buddy's truck from point A to point B, and that's considered a portable, a mobile home. They have tires on them.
We just moved Rock Cut.
Just doing 2 sections.
That's a fresh number. I think that's a good number.
Well,
it's probably more than that with the inflation piece, but that's what it was.
Once again, sometimes my mind works too simple. I'm thinking portable.
No, I get it. I didn't take
I
into consideration
was
a
on-
foundation or electrical either. So so we're looking at $150,000 to move it. What are our options that are not $150,000
A fence
to
off
secure the
that area.
safety?
Yeah, somehow fence that off between the the school building and something like that, I mean, that's definitely not.
And there's two, like, we can look at the immediate that's right here, which is
Sure.
fence.
Right.
And then what does the 5-10 year look like of where we wanna go with that? Like, I think we all know there's issues with the middle school, most of those issues in those middle school have existed since I was in middle school. So, like, I think part of it is just
So
making
you
sure
started
that
this.
we collectively focus on what can be done to kind of solve some of those.
One of the things that came up to me, and I hadn't thought of it before, was we're looking at obviously 3 grades of students being in the same building. And, I mean, what are our fire codes for like classroom changes? And, you know, obviously, can we have 1,300 kids walk in the hall all at the same time, you know, with, I know like the cafeteria when I worked at Machesney, it was 150 students max. Well, then they had to have 3 lunches. Well, now we know that you're not gonna get 100+ students into the cafeteria over there, so they're gonna have to expand it possibly. There really is no place to expand it. But my concern is, you know, your fire codes are gonna be your chief of fire department's coming in here going, you can't have 13 kids walking these halls all at the same time. What if somebody pulls a fire alarm? Somebody's gonna be trampled. And so that's a concern to me is where are we, you know, obviously we're gonna have to possibly alter their moving schedules, you know, 6th grade will go when 7th grade's in, 8th grade will go when, you know, different room sizes, but even like in the library areas where, you know, we've put in these extra classrooms, are there gonna be ways to get them in and out without overcrowding the whole sections and the rooms? And the other thing that comes up to me mostly, unfortunately, is our 6th grade teachers. You know, we're gonna lose a bunch. Are we gonna put them somewhere? Are we going to, you know, because I talked to one of them recently who is a neighbor of mine, and she said, I don't wanna teach kindergarten. She said, I wanna teach 6th grade. But at the same time, she may not have the certification to go teach middle school. So it's like, where are we going to shift these teachers that, we don't wanna lose them because if something fails and we say, well, no, we're gonna end up leaving them at 6th grade. We don't wanna have all these teachers now gone and be like, well, now we need 7 more back or 10 more back or, you know, that kind of thing. What are we going to do with the employees that we have without losing them to somewhere else?
And can I help to that, because I probably inadvertently opened this up larger than
No.
Terrell can handle in a single evening, is.
At 8:15?
That's
Yeah,
it.
8:15, I think, and jump in, I think we've all got concerns, we know those concerns, but I know we're starting school, but if we could get a timeline of, this is where we want to identify the issues that we think are going to be a concern. We don't have to have answers, but like, here's the top 10 list of things that we need to worry about, because we've heard them repeatedly and they're difficult, and that's why we hear them repeatedly. Like, what is going with portables, what are we doing with the amount of students? Like, these things are there, but just so we can kind of help identify that list, and then we can associate a timeline to it, so we know, hey, we want to get the portables taken, but it's gonna make more sense that their kids are safe from fire, right? Like,
Right.
I'll have much more to report to you all after our first transition meeting.
yeah.
That's what I was gonna say, but these are,
But
I was gonna just,
but this is good to hear your.
I was gonna come to your back and
questions
say, we're only a
concerns.
month into this right now.
But at the same time though, I appreciate hearing, you know, from you all what your concerns are, right? And so I think, how many people we have on the transition team, Nick, like 40?
That's
big
great.
raise.
We'll get a lot of.
You're gonna hear these things all the
We'll get a
time.
lot of things.
Well,
from
and we
that
tried to
committee.
get different perspectives from
Right.
different positions.
I
Yeah.
really like what I researched on the transition team. I think it's phenomenal. We are gonna get every pro and every con, whether we like it
No,
or
it's a
whether we
solid
don't.
team.
Love it.
Yeah, whether we like it or
It's a
don't, we're gonna
solid
get
team.
everything.
Yeah.
I don't think any stone will go unturned with that group of people.
I think that, you know, I don't know if you were looking for your mind to be eased, but I think we're all there.
We're all, that's front of mind for me.
Not to speak for anybody,
I'm-
but I with separate conversations I've had, I feel like it's front of mind.
And I think that's part of it, right? Like, there's a lot of conversations that are going on, but, you know, anyone that is not part of this meeting may not see those. So
100%,
making
yeah.
sure that we've seen these items, we're knowing the concerns, we're holding, I don't wanna say holding Terrell accountable, but making sure Terrell is there and we're helping Terrell to succeed with these
Well, I
items.
think
And you should.
I think that's where transparency comes in, and
Yes.
maybe Terrell does a newsletter to the people that are coming in, or, I mean, you know, something like that, like, transparent, because there's a
And
lot
this
of
is part
people
of that
that,
meeting, right? Like, this is things that Terrell can bring up with the group of how that's gonna look and that transparency. I've cut you off, I'm sorry.
no, but the transparency, because obviously, you know, this is a very large thing that's somewhat controversial in our district, and I think we could ease a lot of those growing pains with this, if the people that are involved with that directly can start seeing the progress. And then that'll also, God forbid, something misses from the stellar team and somebody that from the public comes up with something that 60 people didn't think about. I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but it could.
It does.
Now somebody could throw that in you because you're at that stage. So I mean, keeping the public in the loop with, I mean, obviously everything can't be in the loop, but just showing the progression, it might not be a terrible idea.
Yeah, we can do that.
Within obviously reasoning.
And then one last good thing about the thought there about the middle school is, I asked you what the billboard was on the side. Does anyone else notice that, the empty giant billboard on the middle school that just kind of floats there? It has been empty since, I don't remember ever having anything in that.
I didn't even know it was a bulletin board.
Exactly. Why, we've got such talented students, and we have a culture in this town now of murals. Why are we not putting something on that? I don't care about the art on these walls, but why don't we start there and put some art on our school?
We did some in the bathroom in the middle school a while back when my daughter
This
was
is
there.
boom, right there.
I know.
And it's just, it looks like this, but on a building that already hides or looks tired. Like,
We have an opportunity.
love it.
We have a lot of opportunities.
Okay, no, we've got it. I just want to know, like,
I know
why.
a few muralists if, they wanna do some teaching, student teaching
Yes.
opportunities.
Hopefully no one's doing artwork in the bathrooms now.
We've got a good mural space. All right, that's all I wanted to bring
Maybe it
up
was
for
the
discussion
hallway
here.
that leaked into the bathroom.
Anyone else? All right, then I would like to move to go back into closed session for employment of personnel, 5 ILCS 120/2C1, and student discipline, 5 ILCS 120/2C9. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second. Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mr. McKnight?
Aye.
Mrs. Carlson?
Aye.
Mrs. Casey?
Aye.
Mrs. Smith?
We need a break, or are we good to just roll right in?
We just gotta let Michael.
All right, yeah.